We are live for our very first episode of Money Coach Mastery. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
First of many episodes. And the reason that we're taking all the time to do this is because we hate making money and we don't want to help anybody. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
That's not why.
Hate it.
I'll actually, Kyle, I'll let you touch on this, but the backstory here, if you're tuning in for the first time and have no idea who we are, or maybe you've met us at some point, is that I, way back in the day, was a money coach before I got into real estate. And Kai is still a money coach and he's crushing it. And we're essentially on a mission to help a lot of money coaches that seem to be struggling to figure out how to take off, like take those systematic steps to be able to succeed. And so, Kai, I'll just let you kind of kick it off with, what we're seeing with what we're calling this money coach crisis.
Hey, yeah, man. Thanks. Super excited because I think that we've got something that's pretty cool. And I know one of the things, like when we first met, like we were just kind of talking about like money coaches, and over the year, as I've continued to grow my business, like a lot more people have come into the business, and I'm realizing that the biggest thing for people is they don't have enough clients. They're not really making a true living, out of it, and they're putting out a lot of efforts and just really starting to get discouraged when it comes to really running a business. And this is so liberating. Like what we do on this side helps so many people. It's so rewarding that, like, I know we were connecting and it's just like, yo, we got to figure out how to help these other coaches make money so that we've got more
Yep.
money coaches in the world and they're really living the life that they want.
Amen, dude. The irony in the name money coaches not making money is just like insane. And here's the thing. If you think about the opportunity, right? Like I see money coaches post statistics about the opportunities all the time. Like there's X amount of people who haven't set up their savings. There's X amount of people on this much credit card debt. There's X amount of this. There's X amount of that. Like the need and the potential is absolutely insane, man. Like there are people that desperately need money coaches to figure out their systems in sales conversion. Like they need it. This is not a money grab. This is not a like, oh, what an easy way to make money. It's like, no, no, no. We are in probably the worst financial state this country has ever been in from an individual level. Like we need money coaches to step up. We need somebody to step in, show them how to run and scale a business properly so that they can provide the help that the end users, right? Like your everyday Americans need. Like our country needs it, man. There's no shortage of
Yeah,
opportunity.
there's not. And it's definitely one of those, it's one of those brand new professions, but like you said, it's one of those brand new professions that it's needed, right? And like I think there's a lot of people, because it's so new, they come in and they're just kind of like flailing their arms like,
Yep.
oh, should I use Excel? Should I use this? Like, how do I even like help my client figure out the budget? I figured it out for myself, right?
Yep.
And like just because you figured it out for yourself doesn't mean it's very easy to take that and replicate it into and create a business, from it
Yep.
without, like you said, I mean, you are the master of systems, when it comes to
I try.
making things work. Like I'm excited, even, just in our friendship, to learn,
Yeah.
some of that stuff from you. But yeah, it's insane. Like there's so many people that want to go full time
Dude,
and they're unable to do so.
just to rewind, man, because like obviously I know the story a little bit, but not all the way. Because you've been in the business for like 10 years, man. And I mean, did you know anyone else who was doing this 10 years ago?
One person.
One
He's
person.
the person
Okay.
that I learned everything from, which also shows that you need to learn from somebody in order to get to where you want to be.
100%. Okay. So rewind. That was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was about 9, but yeah,
Nine
absolutely.
years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we're almost in January, so we're definitely crossing that 10-year line. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. So how do you even like how did you get into the space? Like what were you doing beforehand where you're just like, "Oh, I'm going to be a money coach and I can actually make six figures a year doing this."
No, man. Like I wanted nothing to do with numbers. I just wanted to be a life coach, like a life and business coach. My whole goal was like when I quit my last job, I just wanted people to be able to live their life and have a great time. Like everyone used to tell me, like, "Oh, I want to travel like you do." I can't. Well, yeah, you can. You just have to, one,
Yeah.
figure out how to save the money, and two, like put the intention out and then go. And it wasn't even about saving the money at that point. It was just like, no, you can do this. And so I was coaching people
Mm.
into taking those dreams. Well, I went through a coach training program, and in that coach training program, I actually met a gentleman who was a money coach. He was building the business, and like in that program, they give you guest clients so that you learn how to coach, right? And like you have to turn in stuff, so you're getting feedback, all that good stuff. I got him last, and I think there were 5 or 6 guest clients. And at the end, they got to pick who they wanted to hire for the next year.
Oh, wow.
Um, it got down to the end, and he picked me. And
Go.
so I got to help build a business from the back end as a coach while he was growing his stuff. We were talking about goals, we are talking about like structure, systems, all of those good things. And that went on for I think about 2 years. And like I loved what he was doing so much that I was like, well, I'm good with my money, but like I could be better. So like
Right.
let me sign on as a client and like let me learn what else I can learn. Cause like I did have clients that had money issues, right? And I was like, all right,
Right.
cool. Well, from that, he was like, dude, why don't you just coach for me? And I was like, heck no. For 2 years, he's like, nope, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to deal with Excel spreadsheets. Like, and then he finally, because I loved company culture, he's like, well, how about you come in and help me build the company culture? What do you need for that? I'm like, well, I need to know what you're taking your coaches through. I need to know what the systems
Mm.
look like. I need to know what clients are like. He gave me 3 clients that I still have today.
Wow.
And bro, I fell in love with it. Like that first call, I was like, oh, this is it. That's that possibility piece that I was missing. It's the financial
Mm.
piece for everybody. And so I worked with him for almost 5 years. He offered me my book of business, which I was growing my own like independent
Yep.
book, under his company. And I counter offered him, and I was like, "Nah, man, I actually want to buy the business because like I know there's so many different things that we can do with this,
Yeah.
in order to grow it." And I bought it from him. It'll actually be January 1st. It'll be 4 years, 4 years
That's
ago,
awesome.
and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. I think really to dissect that a little bit, what you learned first was like the fulfillment of essentially the service that you're selling, right?
Yep.
And so back to this, like you had mentioned, like a lot of coaches get into this and they're just like flailing, right? They don't know what to do. And I think part of the problem is that the fulfillment aspects of it, you can go so many different directions. And by the way, like before we started Tandem and actually provided like an all-in-one out-of-the-box solution, like, dude, you have to create so much stuff and so many systems and so many processes for fulfillment that it's very like overwhelming. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They get so stuck in the overwhelming aspect of how do I create this entire process of fulfillment, which by the way, I was stuck in that. Then like you're dealing with that. But by the way, you don't even get to utilize fulfillment unless you have marketing that's teeing up great leads for you to close in the sales aspect of the
Yes.
business. So it's
Yep.
like people are stuck on the third leg and they don't know how to do the fulfillment, or they don't like their system, they don't like their process. They spend so much time on it and then they get super discouraged because it's like, hey, I've been putting so much time into this business, but I have no leads and no sales.
No wins and no sales. Yep.
It's
And like
brutal,
there's
man.
so much passion because you want to do that other side, right? But it's so discouraging because yeah, you might have one person that comes through after talking to 100 people if you're not doing it the right way. And if you don't know how to close that person to even get them to become a client, it's, and you're 100% right, man. Like, yeah. The other thing too is like, which is so great about the tandem system is like everything is in one place.
Yep.
So not only is it like people flailing trying to figure out what to do, but like you might have a Google Doc here, you might be using an Excel spreadsheet, you might be using some type of an app and a text message to communicate with
Yep.
them, and you're losing stuff in email. Like if you can have it all in one place,
Yep. 100%,
yeah,
man. 100%. I do think too that a common trap, and really, so like the IRS actually designates a business versus a hobby in one very clear way. And I know this because this happened with my money coaching business. If you lose money or you don't generate and report a profit for, is it 2
2 years.
years? I thought it was 3. Is it 2?
Okay, maybe it's 3.
It's
I'll
either
take
it's 2
3.
or 3. But if you don't report a profit in X number of years, they're like, "Hey, guess what? This is a
Hobby.
hobby." And I can't
Yep.
help but ask myself, like, how many people really have a passion about money, because honestly, man, that's the number one thing. It it really is, like, outside of, for me personally, like, faith, number one, but number two, something that can either make your life great or make it terrible, money problems. Like, it is the most like, those two things are like the root of a lot of what your life stems out of. And so I think a lot of people have a crazy amount of passion for that. Like, hey, family experience, financial problems, they weren't taught it. Like, there's any number of like really core identity, like mission statements that come out of it. But if you only have the passion, but you don't have a system for marketing, you don't have a system for sales, you don't have a system for actually fulfilling and then scaling your service, I think that's really where this like epidemic of people trying this business and not succeeding is coming from. It's not the opportunity. The opportunity is there, and it's
Yep.
massive.
Yeah. And then on the other side of it too, it's because money coaching is such a brand new profession. Most people, like, even doing what I do, they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean you
Yeah,
help
yeah.
people with budgets? Like a coach? Like, are you a financial advisor? Or you're like, no, we don't invest. You know what I mean? So like it's also so new on like the other side that people don't even know that there are money coaches out there. And so like that part needs to be spread as word. The word needs to get out there from the coaches that they are coaches. So there's so much opportunity. It's just
Dude, let,
now like buckling down and creating systems and growing.
let's talk about this too, man, because I have some opinions on this, that stuff I've seen from my own personal experience in like the last 6 months that have really opened up my eyes. I think that most money coaches think the only way that you make money is like charging for a course or some kind of monthly subscription. And is that like the experience that you have in your business and what you see from other people, or how do you actually make money as a money coach? Like, where does the money come from?
So that's one of the things too. I've seen like the way that I make money and the way that our system is set up is pretty solid. But I've seen other people come through, and that's one of the biggest things that they're struggling with. Like, I make money one of two ways. We have phase one where we're creating a spending plan, which is essentially your new budget. You pay me to come in, do all of the analyzing so that we can figure out where you're spending your money, how much is coming in, what's going out, and where it's going
Yep.
out. And then together we create a new budget for you in order for you to start living into and start talking about changing the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because a
Yep.
budget seems very restrictive, and like a spending plan is like, well, you can spend up to $600 in shopping. You can spend up to whatever your number is, right?
Yep.
So there's that piece. If a client stops just there, that's pretty much all they pay for. But if they
Yep.
want the coaching and the accountability, then they roll after we do the spending plan into the coaching and
Yep.
accountability for a minimum of 5 months.
Yep.
It's 5 months, not because we're like trying to lock people in, but that it takes 3 to 4 months to start changing some of these habits, some of these patterns, some of the ways that people are viewing things.
Yep.
And most clients stay on. I see on average, clients are with me for about 12 to 18 months. And I've also had clients that have been around for 5 years. Um,
Yep.
so that no, you don't have to have like, I don't know. Personally, I'm one of those people that think that courses they don't work for me. So
Yep.
I also don't want to just say, hey, here's $1,000 course. Go figure it out on your own. Because if they're like me, they're not going to make their way through it, and it's not going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help them with any benefit.
Yeah.
So
So my personal challenge with you, how I would look at your business and be like, dude, I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I would say, dude, I think you're probably missing out on a ton of opportunities to make referral income. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And I do think that people get so in the box of like, the only way I make money is like directly asking for a credit card in some form or fashion. Like, dude, so in my business, right, I do hard money lending. And so I consult on a lot of people in the fix and flip space. And what I've realized is like people come to me for a solution and I can provide it very specifically for just like lending, right? And most people who do what I do, that's all they do. They only ever make money from lending. Well, dude, I make like last month, I made considerably more money from literally being like, oh, like you're in the fix and flip space and these are your goals. Like, talk to my credit guy. You should work on your business line of credit and credit repair. Like, oh, you're doing this. You honestly really should look into life insurance, because it's basically a high yield savings account with crazy tax benefits. Like you should be looking into that. And like, there's a death benefit component. I'm like, I don't do any of those things. But if you're talking to a bunch of people, building relationships with them, and you have the inside track on their finances, and they're telling you like, hey, this is where I want to be in 5 years. This is my vision. This is what I care about. You build
Sure.
a Rolodex of 5 to 10 people who can provide solutions. You're just like, hey, this is my go-to person for all of my clients. And then on the backside, you're like, hey, if they convert, 20%, 25% is like fairly standard. Like, dude, I could nearly live off of just referrals. And it's not like my main thing.
No, I get you, and like I definitely have that Rolodex, and I definitely send people over, but I haven't had a financial conversation with a lot of them about that. You know what I mean? Because it's just it's definitely been goodwill, right? Like I
Yeah.
send, you send, like,
Yeah.
but you're definitely right. Like there is some affiliate referral stuff in there that
Dude,
could be going on too. So
okay. Genuine question for you. And I'm curious your
mhm.
take. So basically the backstory on this is I funded a deal. Hold on. May, stop. She gets antsy when I'm talking on the phone sometimes. So she's chewing on my blinders. Okay, sorry about
Oh,
that. So,
it's all good.
um, like 6 months ago, I funded a deal for a client in like Atlanta. It was a dope house, dude. It was like $1 million house. It was pretty cool. But after we closed, he's like, "Hey, Jared, like, do you know how I make my money?" So like, not really sure, man. I know you're in like financial services of some kind. And he also ended up connecting me with this Hollywood director and this like Hollywood Hills house I was trying to get money for. It was really cool. But
Dang.
I was like, no, man. He's like, well, like I do tax consulting. Like I have my team that does tax consulting, and then I do life insurance. And I was like, oh, okay, like whatever. Heard about life insurance, not interested. And he was like, no, 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 man. I make like anywhere from 20 to 50 grand per client. I was like, 20 to 50 grand per client. And he only wants to work with people who are like high income earners. So I hang out with a lot of high income earners being in the real estate space. And he was like, dude, get your life insurance license. You just check all the boxes. And there's a lot of boxes to check. Honestly, like it sucks. There's a lot of admin crap. Like it's not an enjoyable experience to get your life insurance license
I
and get
looked
set up,
into it back in the day. Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
But I'm like, now I'm like, I like am getting life insurance myself. I'm like, this is actually genuinely like a pretty sick product, dude. I can make interest without taxes, and I can like it's very accessible. Like I can uh access about 90% of my money at any time through the whole like the infinite banking thing is this like no, that's not how it works. You're not like getting extra money, but you can basically access all of your money without tax penalty. Like, dude, this is way better than a retirement fund. Like, yeah, I'm going to get less money, but for me personally, I don't want to invest in the stock market or any of this crap. I only want to invest in real estate deals because my possibility for return is literally 10x what I could do with passive income. So like this is a great product. And now I've referred like, I don't know, 5, 6 people that are going to sign up for it. I'm doing no work. These are people I was already like trying to win over as clients for my lending business. And here's the outcome. They love me and they're very grateful to me for giving them that connection. And because I use it myself, they're like, no, I'm not just trying to sell something. So I get rapport and then I literally make actual passive income that's significant. And then I continue on with what I love doing. And so I'm like, man, how many money coaches are just so closed off to like all these sources of income that honestly is like pretty straightforward and just is in direct alignment with what you're already doing. So, my question for you, with my very long-winded explanation, it's like, do you think if somebody's a money coach, they should just go ahead and get a life insurance license so they can sell those types of products, or do you think it's a distraction?
I think there's a place where it probably crosses a line with the investment piece. I think that it's probably better to create a partnership with somebody
Got it.
as a money coach, with somebody that can do that, so that you can be like, hey, this is where my line is. I stay in my budget,
Mm,
my like in the budget line, but I can see the need for this for you. I'm gonna send you out to my buddy Jared who does this. You guys are gonna have a real conversation. he's the expert. And
Yeah.
then he's going to let me know how much we need to budget into your line in order
Mm.
to make sure that you are protected.
Yeah, I love that. I love that solution. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
great call. Dude, what are you personally doing in your business for like generating leads and then converting them into clients?
So right now, luckily, I have some quite a bit of great SEO on the website
Mm.
from some of the blogs. I actually need to start repurposing them for 2025. But luckily, the website's been up for for quite a while. There was a
You
lot of
say
work that was
luckily,
done on
dude,
that
this is
part.
all strategic.
I guess there we go. So strategically, it's been up for I don't know. I think since 2012. So it actually might be longer than that. There's organic stuff, just trying to work the Instagram, created the YouTube stuff, and I'm also part of a business networking. Um, so I go to BNI. I'm on there once a week. I've got one-on-ones that I have with people, conversations, trying to
Yep.
figure out how they work, how I work, which is how I do pass referrals back and forth, and how I
Mm.
get referrals. And I need to be better at getting referrals from my clients because that's one of the places where I don't play, but I have leads coming in from the website. So like I haven't really thought too much in that, but I need
Yeah.
to obviously we need to find different ways as you continue to grow.
I think I think part of it is when you zoom out from your business, you got to look at where am I already getting like the leads, the contacts, the conversations that I'm not squeezing all the juice out of. So a mentor of mine, like in the lending space, right? It's very referral based, right? I get referred a lot of business, and I was just talking to my mentor, and I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I was like, man, I feel like I should be getting more referrals. And he asked me a really simple question. He was like, okay, what do you send out to your clients after you close a loan with them? It's like, nothing. He's like, you don't send anything out? That's like, dude, that doesn't take any time. It's like, you're right, man. So, one of my biggest hacks for scaling micro systems is I have an app on my phone. It's I'll actually show it to you. It's this app right here. It's TextBand. So,
Okay.
I have on here, it's probably pretty blurry, but I
Yeah.
have all these. I literally have like 20 or 30 things where I just start to type a message and then the rest of it sends out. So now I have one for referrals. It's like bang, bang. As soon as they're done with you, they finish up your program, you give them some kind of thing. It's like, hey, my message goes something along like, thank you so much for trusting me to get you to the finish line. If there's one thing I know about rock stars, it's that they hang out with other rock stars. If you think there's somebody I should talk to, I would appreciate an introduction. And that's pretty much it. And then obviously, like back to your point about SEO, you need to have a Google My Business profile and somewhere for people to leave reviews. And one of the things we picked up from FinCon is what was the one dude's name who's like a 7-figure coach?
Ryan Roy.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan, where he's like, no, dude, you don't just ask for referrals.
Yeah.
You dig in and get like the meat and potatoes, and then you sauce it up with the gravy and you make it beautiful. Those are the referrals you get because that's what moves the needle. And what is the difference in work? It's like a tiny little bit, like just a tiny tweak. And then he squeezes that out and it helps him scale his business like crazy. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's a good entrepreneur right there. Like looking at all the opportunities you get and how do you squeeze a little bit more out of it without trading more time?
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, you're right. Like because oftentimes, like on my intake form, it's like, how did I find you? Oh, I was googling. You're
Mm,
the top one in the San Diego County, but I mean I get people that's coming in from Florida, from New York. Like I've got clients in Connecticut, right? But
that's
for some
savage.
reason, they found me because of Google and like my Yelp, which are all 5-star.
The
Probably could
Yelp,
add a
bro.
couple more
Look
to
at
it.
that,
Yeah,
dude.
man.
This guy's
Yeah,
getting Yelp leads. I love that. I need to get on some
yeah,
Yelp.
yeah,
Have
yeah.
you ever seen the show Nathan for You?
Uh-uh.
Dude,
No.
it's hilarious, bro. So this guy, he's like a average Canadian business school guy, and he has a actual show. He's a comedian, and he did graduate from business college. but he's like the most awkward person ever. And he never breaks character, and like he never laughs except for like really awkward laughs. And his show is like, hey, I'm a business consultant, a marketing consultant, and I'm going to go into your business and like suggest things for you to do to like blow up your business. But anyways, one of the things, he goes to this private investigator who's like pretty successful, and he has a bunch of Google reviews, and like this guy's doing well in his business. And Nathan, for you, like the hill he dies on, he's like, how many reviews do you have on Yelp? This guy's like, what are you talking about, bro? Nobody cares about Yelp. Look at my Google. He's like, you don't even have a Yelp page. Your business is a failure. So funny though. But I digress again. If you were like, if you had a money coach that was talking to you and was like, hey, Kai, dude, I've never really done this before. Like, how do I get clients? Like, what would be your piece? Like, hey, implement this marketing strategy, do X, Y, and Z, and you will have conversations with people who would be interested in being your client. What would you suggest?
I mean, if somebody was just starting out, I would probably make my dream 100, like, or just people that
Mm,
like, and like not necessarily trying to connect, like going back to the beginning, right? Like not necessarily trying to connect to somebody for the sale, right? But like I would just have 100 conversations. Like, hey, you know what, Jared, I'm Kai. I'm a money coach. These are the people that I work with, and I honestly think that looking at who you work with and how you work at with people is
mm,
very important, right? Because I can sit here and be like, hey, I love working with couples. Like the couples that come to me are either just married with like a 2 or 3 year old kid.
mm.
They might be trying for their first child. They maybe just bought their first house. They're
I
very,
thought you were gonna
very,
say
very
bought their first child, and I was like, all right.
I mean, they could have adopted a child, you know what I mean? But like when I put that story out there, like, can you see any of your friends right now that like might be in that situation? Not saying like, hey, they need a money coach, but like at least you can
Mhm.
like start formulating somebody in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, hey, you know what? The other side of couples I love working with are the couples that are older. They might be right around that retirement age. They just sent off their last kid to college, and they might
Yeah.
have one in college. And you can start seeing these people. So like if you're talking to a referral partner and you can start telling these stories and just giving them, just be like, hey, I would just love to connect with people in order to have a conversation about what they need.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're not asking for a direct referral, like, hey, send me a money coaching client. You're asking, like, I want to start doing some of the interview stuff. And I think just
Yeah.
practicing having those conversations. Imagine you talk to 100 people and 50 of those people connect you to one person. Like,
Yeah.
there's 150 conversations you have. Do you not think that you're going to get one client, two
Mm.
clients, three clients from that? And then once you start getting clients, I think that, there's a lot of the organic stuff that you can start doing, creating the
Yeah.
videos, talking a little bit about what you do, and just kind of like living in that space. We've got our phones these days, like for our own marketing department, but that's
Yep.
definitely where I would start. And then the other piece, which is very, very important, is to know the delivery of your product,
Yeah.
right? And not be afraid to charge. Like I've met a couple of coaches that are like, oh yeah, I'm charging $100 for like, it's like $25 an hour. It's not hourly. Package that thing with
Yeah.
what you think the package is worth and sell that. That is much easier than trying to sell 6 one-off sessions.
Yeah.
And then the actual delivery, don't worry about that until you get a client. You know what I mean? Like for right now, like get your first
Right.
client and then figure out how you're going to deliver it. The most important piece
Yeah.
is going out and finding the clients, having, enrollment sessions, like conversations, and asking
Yeah.
people for referrals.
I think to summarize all the wisdom you just dropped, I'd probably turn that into like 3 steps. Step number 1, figure out who it is that you want to work with. Like
Yeah.
figure out your customer, and dude, pretty much everybody needs help with their money. I would say 90% of all people in the US right now need a coach. So there's no shortage. Like, figure out what works for you, find your niche, whoever it is you feel like you can help.
That what can pay you, right? Like if
Yeah,
you want to
that
work with
can pay
starving
you.
artists, it's not going to work, you know? So
Dude, but then again, you look at Ryan, bro. The
no,
dude,
I'm no starving artists. Tattoo
oh,
artists don't
starving,
pay.
starving. Oh, okay, okay.
Starving,
Got it.
right?
That's fair.
Like because
That's
some
fair.
people just have the heart where they just want to help. I want to help the
But
people that don't have. Well,
here's the other thing though, dude. So you talk about charging for the value that you provide. And
yeah,
my personal opinion is like, dude, if you're a money coach, you're selling shovels. Like you're not selling a lifestyle expense. You're selling people like, hey, I'm going to help you get more money, which in my mind, if I'm selling shovels, somebody always has the money for it. There's never an exception that somebody doesn't have the money to buy a shovel. The only problem that they have is a limited mindset. So for instance, if I know that I know that I know that if you work with me as a client, I'm going to be able to help you save at least 5 grand a year, knock a bunch of money off of whatever debt you have by just being smart about your payment strategy and help you whatever. I don't know what your niche is, whether it's I'll help you invest, I'll help you get into real estate, whatever. If I know that I know that I know that I'm either going to make you or save you X amount of money, like, hey, here's my product. I know for a fact you trust me, you do what I say, and you let me take you to the finish line. These are your outcomes. I'll stand by those. 100% money back guarantee. I will stand by those. Like you don't
I'll
have the money.
stand by that as far as creating a spending plan. But for
Yeah.
some situations, and I've dealt with a lot of people, some situations there just is no room, man. Like they're really like they're making $25,000 a year, and as much as you want to help them, like yeah, you can help them, but it's going to be like $100 that they're going to be able to pay you. They're not probably going to be able to pay the. Some of them don't have credit cards, like they don't have credit. Like
Yeah.
there's so many, and they don't have that mindset of oh, I can go out and get another job in order to start making money, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's a
That's
totally
fair.
different, like,
That's fair.
but I
That's
get
fair.
you want
But
to invest.
that's my sales challenge mindset, dude. Someone can always afford it. Like, dude, I paid for mentorship when I literally lost money like 4 months in a row. I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep paying for this because I know somehow it's gonna come back to me. And it did.
I think
Like,
we probably think different.
yeah,
Right?
I definitely think
I
different
invested
than
in a $25,000 coaching program when I just quit my job and had 10K in the bank that I had to figure out how to live off of.
yeah,
But it
it's a
was the
little bit
best decision
different
I ever made. Yeah,
than our main audience. But
yeah.
okay,
Okay,
so
so one was
one,
the niche.
yeah, figure out who you want to serve. Number two, literally just talk to a lot of people, which I mean, that's not that complicated. Like if somebody is who you want to serve, talk to them, have a conversation with them, phone call, social media message, whatever. And then step number three is literally just figure out your delivery, which I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about sales because my hunch is that that's where a lot of people are fumbling the bag as money coaches, or not have like being comfortable with charging enough for you to actually make a living off of, etc. But yeah, figuring out your delivery and making it a value proposition, not a time proposition. Like this isn't a job; it's a business.
Yeah,
You know.
yep,
So,
absolutely.
dude,
Nailed it.
yeah, this is honestly, man, having a conversation like this just gets me all the more fired up to honestly build work on building up a community of coaches so that there's accountability, but also like so many tips and stuff that people can just help each other with. And by the way, like
Support.
it's almost never going to be competition, man. Like it's very rare that you as a money coach are going to be in the same market, same audience as another money coach. So I think the opportunity for collaboration is insane. And then I think if coaches trust us to get them set up on Tandem, it's like, dude, now your fulfillment just became so easy. So easy. Everything is now in one place. You can monetize that. Like it's not an extra cost on your business. And you can use all of that stuff for easy lead magnets to collect more emails. And I'm excited about it, man. I think we do what we've committed to do for our KPIs and lead by example with what we're teaching coaches for 3 months. And then 3 months goes by, we're hitting the compounding curve. And that's what I'm excited for. And I believe it can happen because I've now done it with other businesses. So
90
um,
days to data is what one of my mentors used to say. Right? Like even just think about a coach taking that and like, hey, you know what? 3 months, 90 days. Like I'm just gonna try one system and see what works, and then I can take it and see what I need to tweak. Is it
yep.
my leads that I need to change? Is it my closing percentage? Like, right?
Yep.
And like you can always see the numbers don't lie. So
Yeah.
if you have 100 conversations and like sales calls and those 100 conversations don't turn into clients, well, it's not a leads problem, right? Like it's something that's going on for you, you know, even before that step. So,
Mhm.
or
There's
after
a
that step.
there's a Alex Hermosi quote that I really like, and I'm gonna paraphrase. I'm not gonna quote it. I don't worship the guy like some people, but I do like him. But essentially the quote
Yeah.
goes something along the lines of like, if you just simply put in so many inputs that even if you were the worst salesperson ever, you just sucked, but you did nothing but put in so many inputs that you generate so many leads that you can't help but find success. That's your mentality. Like that's how you have to approach it. Like I might suck at everything, but if I do nothing but get good at generating leads and just focus entirely on that, it is inevitable. Like I have no
Yeah.
choice but to make money. And I think
Yeah.
that's a really, really good framework for anybody that's going into a business where it's like, hey, I have to generate my own clients.
I agree. And I think what you said, prior to that about coaches and it not being competition, it's so key, right? Because most people think like, oh, if we do the same thing, we're going to take away from each other. We're
Yeah.
not, because we're going to speak to different audiences. There's some people that are going to love my personality, being out there, like the way that I am, and like there's some people that are super introverted, and they're like, bro, you bring a little too much energy to these calls for
Yeah.
me. I might need somebody that's my speed, and everybody has a different specialty
Yep.
inside of our specialty,
Yep.
right? So the more that we can share, like even when we share, like when we were at FinCon, I talked to so many coaches, and like I was like supporting and helping and like trying to encourage
Yeah.
them, and like I even remembered stuff like from the beginning where I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, you know what, like I should probably go back and put that into my list for
Yeah.
quarter four, right? So yeah, there's learning and growth and on both sides of the support.
For sure, man. Well, we need to save some of this knowledge for future episodes. And
Let's go.
with this being our pilot, for anybody that's tuning in, listening, watching the replay, really like what you can expect out of this is that we're going to be bringing on experts very specific to what coaches need. So whether it's personal branding, sales, social media content, like other money coaches that are having success, we're going to be regularly bringing on these guests. Kai and I are going to just literally have calls like this where we talk about business specifics, and just brainstorm back and forth. And we're open to comments and questions, and we're just going to keep running this and hopefully building this up while we build up Tandem. And honestly, like the mission is to help money coaches absolutely crush it, because frankly, like America needs it, man.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we
Cool.
do.
Well, with
Yeah.
that, you can catch us on YouTube, Instagram. We have a private Facebook group for money coaches as well, so hit us up about that. And we will see you guys next week. We'll announce who we're bringing on as a guest to the podcast, and looking forward to many more episodes.
Let's go.